Hello. So today, how's everybody? I hope everybody's well. Today we're gonna do a little project on watercolor. And before we do the project, uh, I'm gonna do a basic color wheel I have promised you, or I have shown you, but not actually done, so you could follow along with me, and it will be something good for you to have with you, handy, or something you could post on the wall close to where you work with your watercolor so you can see how your color looks and the color mixes that you can do. This color wheel could develop, or you could have another sheet afterwards created with more mixing colors. What happens if I miss certain colors and then you save them on the paper as reference? Basically, the color wheel is a reference tool. So I have two sheets of watercolor here, but I'm gonna just use one and cut it in half. This was a little bigger sheet, okay, than what we normally use. Um, we usually use the 9 by 12, and then 9 by 12 gets cut into 9 by 6. But this is obviously a little bigger. Let's measure it. Let's see. This is 11 by 7. So it came from a sheet that was 11 by 14, which is a common measurement for artwork also. So 11 by 14 is a very good size for like a nice, big portrait uh, work or landscape. Pretty big, but it's a standard measure too. So 11 by 14, when you cut it in half, it becomes 11 by 7, which is this. We're gonna cut it even shorter, which is gonna become 7 by 5.5. Yep, 7 by 5.5. Those numbers are no longer maybe that common for art, but 11 by 14 definitely is. 9 by 12 definitely is, just like it is 18 by 12, right, when you multiply it. Okay, so I'm gonna cut. Maybe I'll draw a line just to get it right with my scissors. Get your materials out. I hope you have them out by now. If not, you could pause the video. We have a pencil close by. Tape this time. Tape is optional, but we have our watercolors, paper, right? And your paper doesn't have to be my size. It could be smaller or bigger. It's optional as long as you have the paper. Um, okay. You could follow exactly what I have, or your paper could be a different size. Not too big though. Okay, so let's start with this quick color wheel. Okay, I'm gonna have my tissue also. So don't forget some tissue to clean up your brush. Let's do a color wheel. And I'll be doing the mixing here in my colors plastic case, and I put the paper on there so I could see the colors that I mix. Um, let's activate some of these colors. I'm gonna make 3 circles, 1, 2, 3, with red, blue, yellow. Cleaning my brush in between. Otherwise, the color won't be pure, right? It will be a mixed color. So this is wet on dry. The paper is dry. So we have red. The circle doesn't have to be perfect. But I'm rolling my brush. The thing here is I want you to actually mix the colors. I don't want you to pick orange or red or purple. We're going to mix them. So that's red. If you have multiple brushes, you could set it down. My brushes are all the same size because it's the brush that you more likely will have with your kit. But if you don't have 3 brushes, then please make sure you clean it really well. Clean your brush really well. So here's my blue. Took a lot of water there. Try to keep the circles the same size, but it's okay if you couldn't. So that's blue. And yellow. The good thing with this video later, you could pause it, okay? And catch up or take your time. Yellow will be right here, just like a triangle. Ta-da. Okay, so now let's see what happens when I mix yellow and blue. So I put down yellow here. Sorry, things are moving around. This is my yellow. I know I'm going to mix yellow later on, so why don't we put yellow over here too before I have to clean my brush or mix colors. You understand? So I know that I'm going to have to mix yellow again, trust me. So why don't I put some yellow here? That's it. Okay, so now I clean my brush really well. When you dry your brush, that's how you know and you see that the brush is being clean. Okay, so now I take my blue. Let's do the red. I grab my red brush. I'm gonna grab red, remember? And I'm gonna mix red up here with this yellow. What happens? I need, oh, I made a mess. I wasn't holding my brush. It was slippery. These things got a little bit dirty, but not that much. Okay. So I need a little more yellow. Even though I clean my brush, I know I need more yellow. So for this mixture, so I didn't have enough. There you go. Orange. A red and yellow makes orange. So let's make an orange circle. Um, out here. So between red and yellow comes orange. See how it looks orange? Make sure you mix it. Okay, that's the whole point of this exercise. Don't grab it from the actual orange you have on your palette. It makes orange. Clean my brush. I'm done with my orange. If you notice, I'm using 1 cup to clean my brushes, and I clip 1 cup clean. Now I grab my blue, okay? And I know ahead of time that I will need blue, so let's isolate some blue here. Okay, and now I'm gonna grab blue to mix with this yellow. And it makes look green. See that green? So I saved some blue here in the corner because my brush had blue, and now yellow and blue. Remember there was yellow here? I put blue, makes green. So between my yellow and my blue, I put my green. Okay? So there was a triangle here. You see how visually I'm trying to keep this triangle? Now we're going to make another triangle with our secondary colors. I'm going to save this brush here, the one that had the green. And I believe this one is this clean? Yep, this was entirely clean. So I'm going to grab my more red. And I'm going to mix the red with the blue. Let's see what comes out of it. I may need more red, but I think it's okay. I think I'm carefully grabbing some red, just a little bit. That's it. This is purple. You know, purple sometimes it's very dark, so sometimes it will need a little bit of, oops, that was my yellow. It wasn't clean. So this brush, I thought it was clean. It was not. I clean it. That has green. I'm trying to grab a little bit of white. If you don't have white, that's fine. Okay. But I'm putting a little bit of white on our purple to be able to see it a little bit better. So here, red and blue makes purple. I just added that tiny bit of white. If you have it, only if you have it, just to see the purple better, because purple is such a dark color. Does that make sense? You do that with acrylic too. But you could have also put more water if you want to make the purple transparent in a painting. But here we want to see the color for itself. So that's why I added a little bit of white. Perfect. So we have our primary colors and our secondary colors. This is our color wheel. You see how it's round? That's a color wheel. I'm going to put in the center what happens when we mix all our 3 primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. And we have learned already this. And we know that what happens is that it becomes brown. Okay? So this has purple. I'm going to clean it. So I could add the complementary color. Complementary is the opposite color. So they're opposite to each other. So the complementary of red is green. The complementary of purple is yellow, and that sort of thing. So they're opposite to each other. That's why we make our wheel, to understand this. So the complementary of purple is yellow. So if I add yellow to this, I'm going to make brown. Follow me here. The complementary of green is red. If I add red to green, it's going to become brown. The complementary of orange is blue. If I add blue to orange, it's going to be brown. We could test it right here, right now. Let's add yellow to our purple. I need a little bit of more yellow. So this is important for you to kind of, I'm going to clean my brushes to know and understand. But I can see how I need the red. You see? To make like a brownish. You see how it's brown? So to the orange, I said it was blue. So let's clean my brush and add blue so you can see the brown. You see the brown? And I can see how it needs a little bit of maybe more, maybe a little bit of red also. It's lacking red. Brown is rich a little bit sometimes with red. And then to the green, we said we were gonna add red. So here I can purposely add a little more red. You know, but if I clearly just take my three primary colors and I mix them purely, I'm gonna get my brown. So don't forget that. But I could put my brown right in the middle. You see how it's brown? So I hope this help you understand the basic of mixing colors. Okay, so the brown is in the middle because if you mix all primary colors, which are red, blue, and yellow, you make brown. So it's up to you if you want to draw lines. You know, if I were to draw lines, I wouldn't draw lines in a circle. I would draw lines on our first triangle. And what that will teach us is that these three are the primary colors. I mean, I could do it with a pen. So I'm going to put our brushes down. And I'm going to find a pen. I'm going to do it by hand, but you could use a little ruler. So these are primary. You could write them down too, okay? But memorize this. This is something good to memorize. Primary, then this second triangle are secondary. It is a yeah, but it is a circle at the same time. Let's make a circle. Actually, can I make a circle with my tape? I wasn't planning on this. I'll erase that later to make it look neater. Um, but I think I can get away making a circle with this. It's not perfect. I wasn't planning on this. But it will help us see that it is a circle. I'll erase this with my whiteout. Later. Just to make it look nicer in a moment. This is just let me see if this one is activated. So any questions? Save them. Um, for when I see you. Here we go. I'm just erasing this line with a marker that actually has acrylic paint in it. I'll fix it later. Okay, but you see how visually I always say this: if you ever need to do anything to make your picture look better, do it. So this is our color wheel. Okay, make sure you do this. Um, that you can put it up on the wall close to you. We're gonna do a little small watercolor painting project now after this. Okay. Bear with me as I look for some materials. Here we go. It was hiding right in front of me. This will work. So this is just whiteout. The whiteout you use at the office to cover pen. So here's our color wheel. But we need to do these triangles, okay? And maybe right down here, primary colors, secondary colors, and complementary colors. So primary are red, blue, yellow, right? We agree on that. Secondary are green, orange, purple. Now here, complementary, we need to put two colors, okay? So for red is green, for blue is orange, and for yellow is purple. You need to memorize this. As you paint, it's good to know this by heart. Anything else that evolves from this basic idea, okay? I'm gonna hide some of the mistakes. Remember the little accident I have here by writing here. My color wheel. I'm gonna put it outside, maybe here, so you can still see it. Now we're gonna do our little project in 20 minutes. So take another small piece of paper. I'm gonna keep the wheel here so you can, I don't know, make it part of the project. But okay, so I'm gonna clean all my brushes, make sure they're clean. You see how I keep using the same container? If you need to switch this water, do switch it for clean one. But I barely, if I touch this one here, it was just to get clean water out of with a clean brush. Because we're gonna need and use clean water to wet our paper. When I wet my paper, I want to wet it with clean water. I don't want to wet my paper with a color, unless I wish to, but I don't want to right now. I want to wet my paper in a shape, kind of like a circular, an oval shape. We're gonna do a little bird on a branch. So we're gonna make like an oval right in the middle. That's the body of the bird with clean water. You see, my brush is not entirely that clean, so that's why it's giving up like a little purplish color. You could probably not see it, but I do. That meant that my brush was not properly entirely clean. It's okay. But it's not like it's painting. Okay. So my paper, that's a big bird. I made a big, and then on the top, I'm gonna make like a little circle round. So it's an oval and a circle. Oval, circle. You can see it as my paper shines. I made an oval and a circle in my paper as I wet the paper. Okay, this bird is gonna be color. Let's make it. I'm not looking at a bird. We're just gonna make it up. So why don't we choose kind of like orangey. Let's say yellow. Yellow. Let's pick yellow. So I get my yellow. And I set it down. On my oval. But it's kind of saturated with water. And did you see how I'm not filling the whole area? This round top is really important because the bird's head has to be completely round. But if you notice, I did not do the entire body yellow. So now we're gonna add some orange in some areas. Let's see what happens. Activate my orange. I haven't used my orange. We did mix colors to make orange, but we did not use this orange. I need more rich orange. Maybe here, you see these areas? Oh, it's shining. It's shining, but you see how I did one side, and I'm gonna do a little bit of this side now. It's almost like the wing is here, and another wing could be here. If anything, I could add more later, okay, or red. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. Maybe add a little bit of red. And I'm not cleaning my brush that much because red and orange are not that far apart. I'm gonna put a red on top here of the wing, sorry, and the bottom here of the head. Okay, so I'll let it sit. It should all blend in. And set down my brush. Okay, now let's make, well, I have brown here. We have brown here, but I want to make a very dark brown. So I need to activate all this that I have here for brown. So I'm just putting water to get it out. So dark brown, or use a little bit of black. But I could use this. Look, it's brown. If you don't have this brown, you didn't, I put water on what we already did to activate it, and now I have color. So all of this is brown. But you can mix it, okay? So you could mix yellow, blue, and red and make your brown, okay? Make enough. Pause the video, make your brown. Now I'm gonna make the branch, which is gonna be something thick that's gonna go through here, like this. Through his body, kind of. Let's do it again. Now I'm gonna make it thicker here. But you get the idea. You start picturing the bird in the branch. Okay. Let's make some. Actually, let's stop right here. I'm not gonna do small branches. I'm gonna do them later. I'm gonna grab black. I always tell to avoid using black, but I'm gonna highlight black in one side of the branch. Okay. So we have branch in this brush and brown in this brush. I'm gonna use them later. You see how the bird body colors mixed because we wet the paper, they diffuse and mix on their own. So that's what we wanted. Um, I could have made the head, let's see, a little more round, I guess. Said that was very important. Here I'm doing the tail, so I want to elongate this a little bit more. That's all I'm doing. Okay. That's it. We bring this up a little more. There you go. So you see how barely there's a, you don't want too much of a neck, but you want to show that this comes around and then the head is extremely round. Perfect. Let me clean my brush. Usually I will have cleaned this water here, swish it, but do that. Okay, I'm not doing it for the sake of the video, but it's fine. It's not like, but I clean my brush and now we're gonna do some green leaves. The cool thing of watercolor, as I always have said, is you get different tonalities, getting different levels of transparency by adding water to the color. So these are just patches. Look, you see patches, and I'm gonna spread them around, and I'm not gonna get any more green because as I spread them out, I get more water, and that's gonna make it lighter. But I need to spread them around so that lighter aspect of it is spread out. It's not like they're all the light leaves are in this corner. No, they're everywhere because I've been spreading them around. You know. So now I'm gonna grab more pure green and get it in there. You see, but you see how these are have been, and I put a little bit in top of the bird. Not okay. So now I grab the green, more pure green, and add it in some areas. You see how it's gonna be darker because it's more pigment. That's exactly what we want. Different tonalities. So this now is gonna be darker where I put it down. But we don't want to hide that lighter green that we just did. Understand? See how there's darker green? We need that. So it's dark and light. So we have a bird on a branch. See? Okay. You could add more green in some areas if you want more body on, you see, like right here maybe, because it's closer to the center of the tree. Okay. You see what's happening. Perfect. maybe some green on top of the bird. Great. Okay, so now with the black, I'm gonna leave this. I don't think I'm gonna do any more green. To be honest, that's why it's very important you spread your leaves as you want to that first round. That's it. So now we're gonna take. I had brown and black. Remember? So now we take our black. This is gonna be black, and now is where we carefully gonna do our eye of the eye of the bird's eye, the little little legs, and the um, peak. So let's see. I'm going to. I'm gonna have to clean my green and reshape my bird here in the face because this doesn't look. It's too long. I want it more round. So let me grab my orange. And a little bit of red, remember? And maybe give the bird here a more, there you go, a little more, less straight up. So here is going to be our beak, sorry. The eye. If I was looking at a bird, obviously I'll try to get it more correct by using my reference, but I do my eye and I go around, you see, and I leave a little white little spot if you can. That's only if you can. Um, I might. Oh, and the little legs, yeah. So the little legs are just lines. So here you go. Look. One, two, three. One, two, three. I left the space between them so you can see that there are two sets of legs. Okay, I'm gonna solve here some of the illustrative effect because the black is very dark. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let me leave the black. Don't forget there's a brown here, and now with my brush here I'm going to get my red. Actually, you know what? No, purple, because purple has red in it, but I need a dark color because I'm gonna try something here to dissipate the darkness of this beak and eye. I'm gonna shade in dark parts of the bird. Let's see if this works. So especially up here, let's see how now it takes a little more contrast. So I'm basically giving shade to the bird with my purple and dissipating some of the darkness of the what the eye and this thing brought up. Okay, clean my brush. That's very dark. Put a little bit here. We're almost done. Gotta like anticipate what's happening up here. It's taking it away because it's wet. It's still wet. So as I try to paint, it's actually like taking it away, but it's okay. I can always go back and put more purple there. Maybe in here there's darkness too. You see, and the recreating maybe some of the um, wing. Maybe there's a wing here we haven't done before. I put it some lines for the tail. But this is right here what I need to fix. So every time I brush, you see, it's not putting that dark purple I want because it's still wet. As I paint, you see how it keeps grabbing it? My brush becomes like a sponge. That's because it's still wet. I need to wait it for I need to wait for it to dry. So then when I put my purple, it's gonna just stick there and be dark enough to what I want. In the meantime, as we wait for that to dry, and we're gonna go back in purple. Um, let me um, let me actually make this very um, wet. It's, it's okay. I'll wait. I'll wait. I could be patient. So now I have my brown. Remember the brown? I'm going to add some black to my brown. It's still in my brush and it's still here in the palette. Hope you still have some left over. And make some little branches. I'm going to have to create more brown. Let's see. Orange and blue. Remember? Orange and blue is going to make our brown. Yep. Add some black to it. That's already here. And look, remember the partially outline? So partially branches. Very thin, thin lines. Very thin lines create our branches. Following. See that? So thin lines that get interrupted because the interruption comes from the leaves are in front of the branches. Okay, it's a visual illusion. So that's done for the branches. Clean my brush. It was brown and black because our main branch has brown and the black was to shade one of the sides, which was the bottom. So I clean this brush really well because this is going to be our last touch. I'll save it for last. And then I'm going to try to go back. It's still wet. We'll wait. So this is what I will do. Yep, I'm saving my purple here. This was blue for the brown, but saving this brush, remember here, for the part here that's not taken. So this is the purple. These brushes are clean. So I'm gonna do the last touch now, and the last thing will be, and then we'll finish. The last thing will be, sorry, the purple that I need to put here um, once it dries, and it is drying. So here now we're gonna get some berries or something that's growing on the tree. That's all. Look, little circles. I need to make sure they're really red and round. Make sure you make them round. You know, and some of them are grouped together a lot. But make sure they're very round because that's the shape of the fruit we want to represent. And it's hard with this brush, I'll tell you, because the tip is pointy, and that pointy tip is gonna have to, we're gonna have to kind of go around. You know, this is a good point to hide mistakes. That was, you see. So if you dirty the painting in some part, you could use this to, you could use the little red dot representing some berry to hide it. So I'm shaping with my brush the circle because my brush cannot just do it. The tip is not helpful. So if you can get a variety of brushes, do, because this is where they come handy, you know. Okay, I'm grouping a bunch here just to diversify. Okay, let's do the other side. A few different sizes, but not too drastic the size, because they should all be kind of like the same size. We're looking at them from the same distance. But shape them if you need to be sure that they are round. They need to be round. Um, it's okay. I think this is good. Put our purple final touch darker. Yeah, you see how it's taking it now because it's dry? That's all we wanted. That's all we were looking for. Oh, here not that much, but and that's it. That's our work. Maybe I'll sign it here in this corner. Remember, with a pulling, so it's very thin. And the year 22. Okay, And this is our little bird. Maybe we'll practice more birds. This is it shines. I know his dark part shines. Let me maybe put some red in it. Once it dries, it won't be shining like that, so it won't be that different. Okay, that's our bird on a branch. Thank you. We could have always, you always with some of the pieces we've done, like I did a set of flowers, I know in the past. You could always go back if you wish with a very saturated brush with water and a very light blue and kind of like here, but it has to have a lot of water to make it really transparent. You could look. Oop, I'm spreading this blue. I'm spreading the blue to make like a background. You get that? So you could, not to leave the paper um, entirely white. You could always do this and get your painting a little more color. See, I just added a little tone on the white of the paper. So this is not just left entirely white. Now it has a little background. You could always do that. Okay. Thank you, and I'll see you soon, very soon. You could always use these colors later by activating them with water. Okay. They seem mostly dry, but if they're not dry, you could also wipe them before you close your case. If they're dry, just close your case and use them later. Have a good rest of the week.